Welcome to the High Ground Podcast. I'm Stevie W.
And I'm Callum.
Okay, today we are going to be looking at, we're going to be debating which one's better, the DCEU or the MCU. So let's set the criteria. Are we going to be looking at TV series as well, or are we just going to talk about the movies?
Yeah, I mean, if there's some in there that you want to use as evidence, then that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. As the MCU is essentially S.H.I.E.L.D. for all 7 seasons.
Yeah.
And some nice spin-offs in the Netflix and everything. So, but okay, which one do you prefer first as a general whole?
I don't know. It's like, oh, what you mean, like comics as well, or are we just talking strictly films?
Let's stay films.
Well,
comics could be here all day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because it starts off before there was a DCEU, as it's called now. I would have definitely said in the beginning DC, because obviously you've got Superman the movie, Batman '89, Batman Returns, you know, The Dark Knight, you know, those sort of films. And then Marvel wasn't really putting anything out before that, were they? Like before maybe, I don't know, Blade,
but that was how a lot of people, even myself included, didn't realize Blade was a comic book character.
It's not. It's written in small letters.
Yeah.
On the actual titles, on the credits, isn't it? So I think they're kind of maybe trying to hide the fact that it's based on comics. And
I think Batman and Robin were comic book movies were out of fashion.
Yeah.
But I mean, cinematically, you're looking at Marvel's first big major movie was the X-Men.
Yeah.
Before that, they tried it in the 90s with Captain America. Then you can get hold of it on YouTube. You got the aborted Fantastic Four movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Roger Corman one, which is actually really good. I actually enjoy it. And it's that documentary on either Netflix or Prime.
Oh, Doomed.
Doomed, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So, in terms of getting the product out there, DC was always ahead of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you had Wonder Woman on TV as well, but then again, at the same period, you've also had the Hulk. So
yeah.
Marvel were literally head and head with the TV Hulk and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Then you got Batman from the 60s.
Yeah.
And you got, is it the Richard Harmon Spider-Man series?
Yeah, I remember. God, I remember. Yeah.
So.
And then they sort of duked it out. Animated series, there was always a good one for either. There was never a shortage of, you know, like the X-Men TV series.
That 90s.
Yeah,
you also had Batman series.
Yeah, that was the animated series based on superheroes. I think I remember.
I mean, for me, it was Spider-Man. Yeah, His Amazing Friends.
Well, there was the 90s one of that as well, wasn't there?
So, I think that Marvel never had a stronghold on cinema.
No.
Because I suppose you could argue that they got Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
First real cinematic Marvel property. Then you got the Dolph Lundgren's Punisher movie.
Yeah.
In '89,
which is actually quite good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Better than Warzone, ain't it? Better than Warzone.
Oh God. Yeah.
So Marvel and but then you've also got the Captain America.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The '90s one.
That was terrible. With the fake ears on the costume, which once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So,
I think in terms of like, if we're talking building a universe, maintaining it, and having this overarching story, then it's definitely it's got to be the MCU, because everyone tries to do what they do now. You know, I mean, the DCEU is trying to do what they did.
I always say they tried to do it, but without putting the groundwork in first.
Yeah,
it's like they went straight into
the team up.
Yeah,
yeah.
Dawn of Justice, Batman vs Superman. With the Doomsday storyline, they should have just had Batman vs Superman as a 1.5 hour film.
Doomsday is a Justice League storyline.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
And I always said, I mean, I know this it's all gone now, but the Justice League movie should have been Doomsday.
Yeah.
With Kal-El, Superman, dying at the end. Then you got their version of Phase 2, which I would have always had as being the world without Superman.
Yeah, yeah. So then you can bring in like the other people like Green Lantern and, you know, maybe even like obscure people like Green Arrow and you know, I mean, you can build up like, I mean, there's secondary characters in the MCU as well, isn't there, that didn't get their own films, but you still are really invested in them, like Hawkeye and what's her name, Scarlet, not Scarlet Witch,
the Widow,
Black Widow. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
you got Agent Hill. Look at Agent Hill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Agent Carter.
Yeah, or the big one is when you get to the Avengers Assemble. I was sort of pointing out now we are in spoiler territory if you haven't already realised it. So if you haven't seen any of these, switch off now. Coulson, killing off Coulson in who's a secondary character.
Yeah.
But he's also one of the reasons why my MCU gets another point is because it's a second. You know, you've got all these secondary characters, the human characters, the normal ones are going up against the counterpoints to your Iron Man, your Captain Americas, your Thors, your Hulks.
Yeah.
So that they ground it, and Marvel did the work by introducing secondary characters like your Hawk, and the Widow into your movies, so you don't have to explain their backstory when they suddenly turn up for the Avengers.
Yeah.
Whereas with Dawn of Justice, we're throwing Batman and Wonder Woman in at the same time, who should have had their origins first.
Too distracting.
Yeah, and you look at Justice League. Justice League is an origin story as well for Aquaman
and Cyborg,
and the Flash. So you got three people that you've got to put some bit of exposition around, just so they can join the team. And the team goes so like, oh, we're all teamed together now because the world needs us, rather than what's the motivation?
I mean, I always think like Endgame is one of the best like ends to an entire series, like because before it even came out, there was parts of me thinking like, I really hope you don't fuck this last part up because it will kind of mess up everything. But everything was perfect about it. Like the 3-act thing was perfect. Like everything was great. Like just paid off this whole 10 years worth of work that they've done. And like I really lament the fact that if the DCEU had done that, then you could have had like Thanos in the DC universe's Darkseid.
Yeah.
He would have been the big bad eventually, and like that would have been epic, having the whole DC film universe up against him. And similarly, but because you could have had characters like Supergirl and Martian Manhunter and people like that, and Batman. It was just everyone could have, and it just kind of annoys me that they rushed into it a little bit.
The thing is, they've got Flashpoint. The Flashpoint's apparently moving ahead now, so that's going to be their Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
where they retcon everything they've got so that they can actually put it more linear. That's what I feel that they're doing.
Yeah, well, Flashpoint was the comic retcon.
Yeah.
Before the New 52 stuff happened, so. Yeah, I mean, weren't we sort of discussing recently that we think there might be a Michael Keaton cameo?
That Michael Keaton is allegedly being courted, from what I've been reading, for Flashpoint. I mean, that's a way of getting those that are just, that are just walking away from it.
Yeah, back into
saying, well, you're Michael Keaton into it, so you're going to get the original 89ers. When I say 89ers, people, they're a big fan of Michael Keaton. And his Batman will go and see it.
Yeah.
Because of that. And I've got to admit that, in the Crisis of Infinite Earth, the big selling point for me was Brandon Routh. Returning as Superman in Crisis on Infinite Earth, the TV thing they did with their Arrowverse.
Yeah. And
that's what if the rumours are true, and that's what Michael Keaton will do. He'll bring the audience in.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, DC's got 3 big ones. Just Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it's their big 3, isn't it?
Yeah. And they're like bigger than pretty much the majority of the MCU in terms of power. I mean, your Marvel's big figurehead is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. But
symbolically, they're the 3 people you imagine, aren't they, when you think of DC?
Or comic books in general. You've got 4, you've got those 3, and you've got Spider-Man. That's and the thing is, Marvel were able to take secondary characters by creating them in films and making the films that were so enjoyable to a mass market.
Yeah.
But DC could have done the same thing with their secondary characters, like all the ones you've mentioned in Green Lantern. I mean, Green Lantern film, which I don't really know much about Green Lantern, but that just...
Or Teen Titans, you know, like, that would be sort of like, could have been their Guardians. Or even somehow bringing the Watchmen into it.
Oh, that would have been good.
I mean, for your more realistic sort of part of it, that would have been... I mean, in DC, there's a lot more sort of playing around with the multiverse than there is in Marvel. So you could have probably used that to your advantage, as I suspect they're about to in Phase 4 of the MCU. You know, to bring in mutants into it and vampires and stuff like that. So
and you got the WandaVision TV series.
Yeah, WandaVision.
And
yeah.
you got we don't know what the plot line is. There's a new Spider-Man film, and you've got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So we're talking characters here that nobody even knows about, but they're going to pay their good money to see
because they're part of that series. Yeah. I mean,
But
Ant-Man was a big one for me as well, because I mean, I didn't really know who he was, but seeing Paul Rudd cast and seeing that they were honest enough about saying it's basically a comedy, you know, Edgar Wright was going to direct. Yeah, I thought that's interesting. I'll go see that, and I really love that man. I think they both stand apart from the whole series. And,
they're brilliant films.
And yet together, you know, but yeah, that was another problem for me with DC as well. There was no humor for Man of Steel, none whatsoever. We were saying this in the last podcast, weren't we, about versus Superman Returns. It's so bleak, and there's no like chance to sort of get the closest bit I think you get to a laugh is when she's asking about what the S means, and he's like, "Oh, it's not an S," you know, and you sort of like that was always a question people asked, wasn't it? Like, what does the S stand for? Super, like
means hope.
Yeah, I kind of like that, but it's just quite devoid of humor, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then they sort of they put a bit more in for Justice League, which I was quite happy to see. And Wonder Woman's there's some moments where you laugh, I think. And
I've only seen it once so far.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably the best one out of the DCEU. I think that's such a dumb name.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time the other day. It's Shazam.
See, I didn't really like that.
I enjoyed it.
I don't know whether maybe
nonsense.
a second viewing will change that, but
it was a good bit of nonsense. I just wanted a bit of nonsense because at the moment, I'm sorry, this is going to sound really bad, but with the way the world is at the moment, my criteria for a lot of things that when I watch for pleasure, is I say to my fiance, I just want it to be fun.
Yeah.
You know, there are things that we watch for when we're doing these podcasts, which I consider to be. I don't consider it to be work. I mean, I love what I'm doing. I really do. I think it's fantastic. But when I just wanted to chill out and chill my brain out, I want something that's fun. And Shazam.
Yeah.
And Teen Titans Go to the Movies is exactly the same. Which I literally I just love that film. So it's funny. But I'll touch on something you said about Endgame. You know what the thing about Endgame, which is it just never been done before to my knowledge, is when you watch a film, you say, for instance, this is my one for this podcast, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Your heroes, we're going to go for traditional. We go the original trilogy. You've got Luke Skywalker, Han Solo. You'll have like one or the other, or Princess Leia. But for a child in a male-dominated world, the males would naturally, usually. I mean, I was always a Princess Leia fan, I've got to admit, but you would either be Luke Skywalker or Han Solo. They were the two. Even if you listen to interviews with Carrie Fisher, she said she wanted to be the Han Solo. You will always get that, but when it gets to Endgame, you've got invested. I had a vested interest in the Guardians and Captain America.
Yeah,
and I was still going into that off of Civil War, where I was on Captain America's side, whereas my fiance was a Iron Man fan. So it's sort of like because of all the secondary characters and everything as well. The touching moment was at the end, where Happy Hogan says to Tony's daughter about how her dad liked cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of Jon Favreau, so that little moment, but because of all the characters there, this is just me. Yours would be different, and then everybody else is going to be different depending on who they are. What I'm trying to say is that this is a movie with so many characters that everybody's interpretation of what's going on is going to be completely different because of their I love this character more than this one. I don't want anything bad to happen to this character. And it's just brilliant.
100. Yeah, I mean, another thing they juggle as well, talking of characters, is having every single character from every single film that you've had so far, main character, and not mess it up. I mean, how many superhero films have you seen where there's too many characters and it just bogs it down? You know, like Batman and Robin is one of those, like we mentioned earlier. Like, it's too many characters. There's too many things going on, too many this and that and the other, and it just weighs the whole thing down. Another one for me is Mortal Kombat Annihilation. There's just every single Mortal Kombat character you can think of in that film, and it just drags the whole thing down. Whereas Endgame, just that moment at the end where you like on your left cap and you think, oh, well, there's Falcon, and then like they all start coming through, and you think, oh my god, like how have they done this? Like this is great.
You don't know where to look on the screen because you're looking for your heroes and Howard the Duck.
And Howard the Duck,
How can you take a character like Howard the fucking Duck, on my language, and then you get people looking for Howard the Duck on the screen? There's a secondary character. He's in there somewhere.
He is. It's kind of like I call it like the Ready Player One moment where like you pause in it just to see how much you can see on the screen at once. It's that moment at the end of the fight is just like that, you know. It's just so well done and so great. And
you think about Ready Player One a bit like you've got the cinema and outside and you're seeing is that Return of the Jedi or a Revenge of the Jedi poster they've got there. It's just very, but it's nice to. Endgame is a 3-hour film.
Yeah.
And
feel like
it does because of the acts. Pardon me, they are so well paced, and it's really. It's like going back to pacing. You look at everything starting to go down a crapper in Infinity War, and then how do you lift the spirit? You have music kicking in, upbeat music, Rubber Band Man, and as soon as you hear the first opening bars, you just know the Guardians are coming. And then bang, it becomes fun again. Marvel know how to do that, and the Russo brothers.
Even Endgame, where everything has gone to shit, there's still the humor's still perfectly timed, and you know, like there's just like little jabs of humor now and again that just remind you like you're still watching like a cool entertainment piece of, you know, film.
Good. It was like Tony says to Thor, out the way, Lebowski. You watch it first time, and I'm like, the way reference the Big Lebowski. And then you realise, Jeff Bridges, Big Lebowski, Obadiah Stane in Iron Man. I was like, yes.
And the just the whole time travel thing, like
Die Hard.
Yeah, there was no time travel in that. It's just keeping like, I don't know. Yeah, just I love all the pop culture references, and I even just went the way they used Hulk as Bruce Banner and the Hulk at the same time now was just great. Like, I mean, I'm more like disappointed in the DCU than I am hating it. Like, because there was so much potential to do that. Like, and we've said before, like a lot of our favorite comic characters were DC. You know, like Batman and Superman. And you ask someone to name a comic book character, and most people are probably going to say Superman or Batman, aren't they? Honestly.
Yeah.
Before, I mean, probably Spider-Man as well, but they're like the ones, like we said, like they have that symbolic stature about them. You know their outfit, you know who they are, you know what they stand for, you know. And yeah, I think it's just a shame they went too quick, you know, too far too soon, kind of thing with it.
Marvel were making the money; they wanted the Marvel money.
Yeah,
they didn't want to do the groundwork; they just wanted to get the money out there. It was like. Pardon my language, it's a bit like a dick measuring contest to see, but my dick's bigger than yours. No.
Yeah.
Just because mine's taking a little bit longer to get up, and it's kind of like, well, sorry about this analogy.
It's not about like I know what you mean. Like they think they're just pouring all this money into. Oh yeah, we'll reach that level soon. I mean, it's just not. That's just not what it is.
Go back 30 years and say Christopher Reeves, Michael Keaton, Gene Hackman. And then you know Jack Nicholson. Put those on. You put those 4 names. Justice League. So you got the two best Batman. Well, in our opinions, are the best. The definitive Batman and Superman versus the Joker and Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, you doesn't matter who's going to play Wonder Woman or who the other characters are. The fact you've got Batman and Superman, a definitive version.
You wouldn't have even needed the rest of the Justice League. I don't think it could have just been like an origin story for the Justice League, and Batman and Superman started it, and then at the end you kind of had your "can we join" sort of scene. You know, I mean, one of the big sort of letdowns for me that I think sent the DCEU, that's so unwieldy to say, isn't it? Into like the downward spiral was Suicide Squad, because I mean the trailers for that, I thought, wow, this is going to be their Guardians. This looks great. I love David Ayer as well as a director. You know, Fury's a fantastic film, and he wrote Training Day. He's good at those sort of like quippy, action thriller kind of films. And then it's just really lackluster, wasn't it? Like there was just If anything, they went the opposite way and put too much humour in it. You know, and
didn't they recut it after the trailer came out?
Yeah, there is an extended cut, isn't there? Oh, yeah, so they got rid of the Joker. Yeah, that's another point in contention with me as well. Jared Leto was a Joker.
I watched Suicide Squad once. Not really a fan of it, but I am looking forward to the Suicide Squad because I like James Gunn.
Yeah.
And
they should just hired him from the start. There's no reason he can't be in both.
Like he is now.
Yeah, like he is now. Yeah.
But you know, it's. I mean, but Marvel took the risks.
Yeah.
Marvel, you know, you look at Jon Favreau pre Iron Man. He was basically more known for Elf.
Yeah. I didn't even realise he directed that for a while.
Only recently, it's going to be really bad. I only recently watched Elf, and
I think it's really overrated, actually.
Elf.
Yeah, I think everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I watch Elf every Christmas." Like, no,
I watched it once. I recently watched Maid, which I think I love the film Maid. But Jon Favreau's not exactly an actual. If you go back to 2008, he's not exactly a marquee name.
No. Well, we were saying earlier, weren't we, as well? Neither was Downey Jr.
No,
he was like a risk, wasn't he?
Big risk. And people go on about Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
And going on about how Joss Whedon in the Avengers. As far as I'm concerned, the godfather of all these MCU is Jon Favreau.
Definitely, yeah.
And you can put his name above a film, and I will go and see it. And it's not because of Marvel; it's because of the Chef show.
Yeah.
And the Chef, but it would have only came about because of Iron Man. And I discovered, for me, Iron Man was my way of discovering Jon Favreau, and he's brilliant in the fact that and of course Mandalorian.
I mean,
John.
Yeah, it's not to take away anything from Joss Whedon, because I mean, the Avengers was like the first big. That was the one everyone was leading into, wasn't it? And we were like, "Oh, this is going to be good." And again, Joss Whedon's good at that sort of quippy, keeping a team together kind of dialogue, especially from if you ever watched Buffy, you know, like that. He was always great at that, firing dialogue off each character. And the exposition, he's good at doing exposition as well. He's very good at that. But yeah, I mean, but on the flip side, I would love to see the Zack Snyder Justice League. Not the Joss Whedon one, yeah. Because I think there is going to be a definite point where you go, this isn't Joss Whedon anymore.
Yeah, I think it's because I've read somewhere that they've got enough material. I think they finished the work print, didn't they?
Yeah.
So that they can. It's all going to be Zack Snyder. Again, I have rose-tinted glasses now with Zack Snyder. Because he did one of the single greatest comic book movies ever made.
Oh, Watchmen, yeah.
Watchmen, I put Watchmen easily up there with, as a piece of art, up there with Richard Donner's Superman.
Yeah.
And I will always... I was discussing this the other day with my fiance. As you to say, I mean, don't disrespecting Joss Whedon, but who would I rather see? Joss Whedon movie or a Zack Snyder movie? I would never really pay to see a Joss Whedon movie if I didn't really want to see it.
Yeah.
But if you have Zack Snyder's name on a box, my interest is already there. Because you got 300, you got Dawn of the Dead remake.
300. Yeah, you said 300. Sorry.
Yeah. And Watchmen, Sucker Punch. I loved Sucker Punch, which I still haven't got yet.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I did like. I love. If anything, he's good at style.
Yeah.
He's very good at style. But yeah, I don't know. Joss Whedon's a weird one though, because he's not really suited for films. I don't think. I think he's always been a better TV guy and comic writer as well. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I wasn't a massive fan of Serenity, but everyone seemed to like that.
Everyone balls that.
Yeah.
And what movie it wasn't?
Yeah, no, I Firefly was garbage, but Chiwetel Ledger falls in the film, so I gave it a shot.
Who?
Chiwetel Ledger.
Oh, I love Chiwetel Ledger 4. He's great in Doctor Strange.
Oh yes, yeah, I forgot he was in that. What's his name again?
Doctor Strange. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, let's find out.
No, yeah, he's
I forgot
good. He was in that. Yeah, that's.
And he's also in
MCU.
Boots.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
which I love. Chiwetel Ledger 4. Isn't he in something else? I'll let you.
Oh, what is he not in? He's in loads of things.
Oh, he's brilliant.
In The Martian.
Oh, he's good in The Martian. Martian's a bloody brilliant film anyway.
Martian's great.
Mordo,
that's it. Yeah.
And he was in that. What was it I watched recently? Oh God,
Oh right, yeah.
That was good.
No, but yeah, it's, I get what you mean. I'd definitely go and see Zack Snyder or something like that. But
yeah.
you're always guaranteed a good looking movie if nothing else, aren't you?
Oh yeah, and that's the thing I think where let's look, you know, so, so yeah, it's gonna be a good film. I'm hoping because again, you look at Richard Donner's cut, the fabled Richard Donner's cut of
Superman 2.
Superman
I don't
2.
watch any other version anymore.
Is how often do you get a used screen test and put a screen test into a film, and people go, "Well, it's still better than the Richard Lester."
Version,
The Richard Lester, wasn't it?
Yeah, I recently rewatched the original. It doesn't even feel like the same. I can't believe I used to think that was the best one for a while.
Yeah, but it was up. You know,
I think it's more like Terrence Stamp that sells it, isn't it?
Yeah. Son of Jor-El, kneel before Zod. Classic line. If you say that to some people these days, they don't.
Like, yeah,
what are you on about? Is this king you want me to kneel? Don't say to her. Don't ever say if you know someone that knows what you're on about. Never say to a girl, "Son of Jor-El, kneel before Zod," because they'll think you're wanting something to give yeah, something that's a little bit.
You get in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, you will get into trouble if you say that, because if you say that to, so if you see someone, especially of the opposite sex, getting down on their knees and you say kneel before Zod, you get looks going,
don't kneel before Zod.
Yeah, you think, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, I'm going to HR.
I really love, on the subject of General Zod, I thought Michael Shannon's General Zod was fantastic.
He had a motivation, I've got to give him that.
And it's a shame they sort of
killed him off.
Yeah, because I mean, he could have been a great in the whole like extended universe. He would have been great. It's like a recurring villain. Yeah,
I totally agree. Because you look at Spider-Man, they killed him off. The villains off. MCU is we'll just send them somewhere.
Send jail. Yeah.
So
send Batman to jail.
Yeah. Even they did it with a joke. Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, but it's sort of unknown what happened to him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they don't mention him in Crisis, do they?
No,
at all.
But that's a good way to keep the character alive. You don't want to kill your main villain off at the end. That's
in case you need him.
Yeah.
You have to do like a Wrath of Khan and bring him.
Yeah.
Well, not him, but like he was in the series originally. Yeah. So like set it up for later.
Isn't that what Heath Ledger says? His Joker says something about we'll be going around doing this.
Yeah. Me and you'll be doing this forever.
Yeah. And that's Yeah,
I love that speech actually. An immutable force meets an immovable object. So great.
But they were good. But then again, the darkness of Spider-Man is also not Spider-Man. The darkness, which of Nolan's vision, is what they put on to Zack Snyder's vision, because Nolan was a producer and DC Warner made a shitload of money from it. So they've got to emulate it.
Rather than just trying to do their own thing.
Yeah. Marvel are like, we got to be dark. So
let's be dark.
1 second. So yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
That was the problem, is that they tried to be two different Marvels one way, we've got to go the other. Rather than going, they did just slightly different colour palettes, but it's the same sort of thing. You've got to have a Superman bright. They kind of learnt a lesson a bit when they made Shazam.
Yeah, definitely. I hate how dark Man of Steel is.
Yeah.
It's so like, I said this last time, didn't we, how muted it is. And you think, well, you've got a character who's got a red and blue and yellow suit on, and yet it looks sort of, I don't know, it just looked like someone had drained the contrast out of it, didn't it?
Yeah. Because you got to have it dark.
Do you?
No, Superman has to work on the light. He's Captain America.
Well, the sun powers him, doesn't it? Why is there no sun in that film?
Yeah. Oh, the only trying to regenerate before. That was one.
Yeah, I think so. And he comes back down, doesn't he? Oh no, it's at the end of Batman v Superman, isn't it? When he's in space and he's sort of like doing a suspended animation for like a few seconds.
They all blend into one after a while.
Yeah, they do.
We've watched a lot of DC films recently, so it's
What about, we haven't really spoken about Wonder Woman very much, but I must admit, I really like I think she's they made a great decision casting her.
Gal's got a body on her.
Yeah, she is, but she's good as well. Like, she's a good sort of tough. Like, you needed someone like that to play Wonder Woman. It wouldn't have worked with like a Linda Carter style Wonder Woman, you know, like twirling around. And
No, she has.
but I mean, she was great for her time. But
I mean, I like the way she's. My complaint have always been with Wonder Woman's costume. They didn't upgrade it.
yeah, I always thought
titillation.
it's a hard costume to do straight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I always thought the way to do it would have been with like trousers, not trousers, but you know, like armor maybe.
Yeah.
Rather than make it look like a flag, like it does. That's one of those instances where that's a comic book outfit that only works in comics.
Exactly. It was titillation for the sake of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at Wonder Woman. She's got these great legs.
Yeah.
I mean, and
she has.
She has, and she's got a great physique. But the thing is, and it's one way to get the V plates into Virgins. Into the cinemas. You've got all the women that were cosplaying and making cash off of Wonder Woman after.
Yeah, yeah.
And same with Harley Quinn. All these models, so to speak, that were selling on their Patreon accounts pictures of them in skimpily dressed Wonder Woman in a similar costume, or Harley Quinn.
Yeah, isn't Wonder Woman one of the most cosplayed? Is it the most cosplayed?
Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn.
Was it Harley Quinn?
Sure.
I mean, it would have been probably Princess Leia in the slave outfit years ago, wouldn't it? But
yeah, if there was around then, but now it's those two. It's and it sells though.
No, of course it does. Yeah.
And because it's so it's.
I mean, a lot of if you're into the comics and that, there's loads of comic outfits that you think they're questionably functional, shall we say?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Power Girl. If you just Google Power Girl, wow, like you could not function in a costume like that, or Starfire, or something like that.
The spandex on the likes of only a thing that's female with the long legs that are like 6 foot. And, and chest that defies gravity.
Yeah, yeah.
But it sells.
Of course it does. Yeah.
I was watching a bit of a documentary. I wish I remembered. I should have wrote it down where it was. About the amount of times that Wonder Woman gets tied up.
Oh yeah. Well, apparently the guy that created her, a guy called William Moulton Marsden, he was a psychiatrist, and he had a fetish with being whipped and tied up. Apparently, that's why someone's always tied up in a Wonder Woman comic.
Yeah, and
he's a bit of a weirdo, but like he's a nice guy apparently. But he's just everyone has their
wife and girlfriend.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, how many perversions did all those comic book authors have? Maybe like the comics was their way of getting it out, so to speak.
Yeah, but they made a lot of money, so they could actually go out and find themselves someone that would appreciate them for their money and being their talent. They have talent. That's the thing.
They did have talent. Yeah, definitely.
But I like the MCU. The MCU gets a point more for me because I think all the costumes are all practical, like your
very, very much so.
Black Widow's leather.
Yeah, even Captain America's outfit. I love the Captain America outfit in Winter Soldier. It looks so like that's how a modern Captain America would have looked, like functional. It looks military. I mean, I always wish they'd kept that instead of the old one again. I like the old one, but I don't know. It just that was a great like spy movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he felt like he had like an outfit that would be used today.
Coulson created the movie, the Star Spangled version, but I liked his 1940s.
Yeah,
version
I mean, because they
Avenger.
sort of like mock the old outfit in that, don't they? When he's on stage and
Star Spangled Man.
But that I do like the 1940s one. Yeah, see, that suits that era. Like, it looks like something a superhero would wear in World War II, or something like that, But yeah, no, all the outfits I think in the MCU are really good. Like, Captain Marvel even, like, she probably looks the most comic booky.
Yeah.
And even hers looks pretty cool. And
when she comes to Earth, she just grabs the clothes.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
Or Quill.
Yeah.
Like a Quill,
Or
the Star
Black
Lord.
Panther as well. I mean,
Yeah.
he's basically just Batman, isn't he?
Yeah.
An African Batman.
Which is cool.
He is cool, yeah.
And you know, he gets spoken down to by his little sister, did he choke? And he said to security who's female.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do like Black Panther actually. I think that was the sort of lead into Infinity War, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The great, like the one where that was another one where the trailer didn't do it for me, and I just thought this looks like another by the paint by numbers one. And then when I did finally see it, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. Like,
this is where another thing where Marvel has points over, and this is talking X-Men as well, is that Kilgrave is not. He's a bad guy because he murders loads of people to get to.
But he has a motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based upon experience.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, you know, and this is where I think, you know, as a comic book fan who as a fan, you know, grew up with science fiction, where science fiction as a rule, you know, it's a lot more integrated. We integrate people, you know, because when people go on about strong female leads, we've had it for years.
Yeah, Alien, Terminator.
Yeah, Princess Leia.
Princess Leia, yeah.
And strong minorities, they've always been in there. So when something like Black Panther comes along, which is groundbreaking as it is, it should, you know, but we've had all these characters integrated for years. So where it's now reaching the masses, but to me, Black Panther is just another MCU movie.
Yeah,
it's not standing out for anything else, but it's the characters
that
are there,
and it didn't use like the whole, you know, first sort of main black superhero thing as its selling point. Like it was just he was just a superhero. Like it wasn't like they weren't pointing that out like, oh, first black superhero. See, that's the kind of thing that annoyed me a little about Wonder Woman, where they were like, oh, female superhero directed by a woman, you know, like never had a female superhero. Oh, we just said yes, we have. Sarah Connor, Ripley, Princess Leia, like it's all been happened. You know, whereas that was good grammar, wasn't it? It's all been happened. And then, you know, Black Panther was just like here's a superhero. But he's just black by coincidence.
Yeah, and the box office. They got you know, all the money and everything. It was all raking in. It didn't change the plan and the release structure and the stories of all the films that have been since.
No, not at all.
So, whereas DCE would say, well, we've made X amount of money out of this, we've got to change and retire everything. Scrap it. We've got to go back and do reshoots on these films because people want to see more of T'Challa. Now, T'Challa and Captain Marvel, by the time Endgame came out, were already part of the universe, and they're like, okay, we'll have to expand on them later, but we're going to continue the plan and give them the same amount of allocated time that they've got in these films. Whereas it's not going to have to suddenly start putting more of them in to keep people happy.
Yeah.
So, and Marvel have got a knack of taking characters that nobody knows and making shitloads of money from them.
That's what really sort of sold it for me as a great series was. I've said this, probably told this story loads of times on this podcast, but when Guardians first came out and I saw the trailer, I know like you thought it looked amazing, didn't you? Whereas I thought it looked really terrible, and I thought, oh, I don't know if it looks like a full-on goofball comedy. And as soon as I saw it, I was just, wow, how wrong I was. Like, here's a team where you don't need to know who they are. There's no baggage going in. Expectations aren't high because a lot of people probably don't know who they are. You know, and doing it with a B team is so much better. It's what I'd love to see a DC B team film. You know, and I thought Suicide Squad was going to be that because I didn't really know much about it. But I don't know, it was just overshadowed by Guardians, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the thing where they got wrong, in my opinion, is with Suicide Squad is you need to make these characters should have been villains in movies
previous
So
films.
I want to see a badass whoever it is. I want to see a badass Joker. I want to see the person.
Quinn, yeah.
I want to see all these villains.
Yeah.
Evil. I want to hate these people. I want these to be the big bads in a series of movies, so that when you bring them together, you've got
like,
the alternative of the Guardians of the Galaxy, where you hate these characters and they have to do good. That would have worked.
The Sinister Six would have worked better with I think it's Sinister Six.
It was,
with them like Lex Luthor and the Joker, and you know the big hidden villains where you do know them regardless. You know that would have been a great chemistry to have.
You could do a Suicide Squad with Loki,
Yeah,
Killmonger, the Mr. Purple from
Thanos.
Thanos,
Yeah.
Mr. Purple from Jessica Jones, the Purple Man from Jessica Jones.
Yeah,
You could literally just pick
Kingpin.
Kingpin. Oh, you could literally pick all the ones that you really characters you really love to hate.
Yeah,
The ones that are real nasty pieces of crap. Stick them together and say they're going to be the good guys now.
yeah.
And keep the
You're like, oh,
characters.
what do I do?
Yeah.
Because I think another problem with Suicide Squad was deep down you knew by the end of that film they were going to be humanized and they were going to be the good guys.
Yeah.
You know, full on quote unquote good guys.
Like
whereas,
first Will Smith said it.
Yeah, he
likable
can't play
character.
a bad guy. Yeah. Whereas, yeah, sort of, if you'd have sort of built them up as bad guys before, proper bad guys, and then humanized them, then you could have been like, you know, you're getting the other side of the story, aren't you? Like we said with some of the MCU villains, they all have motivations, and you know, Thanos has a reason for wanting to kill half the universe. And Killmonger has a reason for being annoyed at T'Challa. I mean, I'm not saying the MCU doesn't have their, you know, like forgettable villains. Like Malekith is quite forgettable, and he doesn't really have a motivation. Or Ronan's quite forgettable. I think he's just like a big sci-fi bad guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
But most of them are quite, you know, Loki especially as well. Like how much does everyone love Loki? Just because he's funny, he's like, but he has a reason to hate Thor because Thor's always had the limelight.
He was just a little runt. Ice baby.
Yeah.
And you come on, one of the Comic Cons where Tom Hiddleston was there, came on stage, and he got the audience crowd. He goes, "Say my name."
Yeah.
Everyone pops at Loki. But if you look at it, right? Avengers would have been well into production when Thor and Captain America came out. So you're taking off-world character that may or may not work. You have him as your
main villain.
Main villain in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, and it was a nice sort of lead-in as well, wasn't it? You didn't have a too hard villain to start with.
No.
You had a nice sort of like one you'd seen before, one everyone knew, you know, that was powerful enough to be more powerful than the human superheroes, but then not quite, you know, on Thor's level. And then you up the ante each time. That's why I didn't really think Ultron worked as a second team-up villain.
But it's the characters, but it's the group.
Yeah.
But with Justice League, you got these because the Superman's dead, so it's like being a beacon for Darkseid and whoever he is. What's the character? I forgot the character.
Which one?
It was supposed to be Darkseid, the villain in Avengers, not Avengers, Justice League.
Oh, Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And he's
like, makes me think of Born to Be Wild.
Yeah. And so you got dodgy CGI character with dodgy bat-looking creatures. And you're supposed to believe that they are the big bads because we've not been set up, so we don't know who they are, what their motivation of coming to Earth is. These mother boxes, and it's too much of a mess.
Yeah, I mean that dream sequence in Batman v Superman set Darkseid up better.
Yeah,
you know, the one where it's like like an apocalyptic sort of landscape. That made me think, wow, Darkseid, here he comes. You know.
So, but that's what we've got to look forward to when we see the Zack Snyder cut. But it shouldn't have to wait for that. It should have been the movie they released, but it was put out there with Warner Brothers wanting to make and DC wanting to make a more friendlier film because that's where Marvel made their money. Yeah, but Marvel never did safe. Marvel was just
I mean, and like we've said before as well, even if they did have a bit of a not flop, none of the flops are they really, but a film that wasn't as great, like Thor 2, they wouldn't be like, all right, let's scrap the whole plan. Like they'd just go, oh well, that happened. Just and even the fact that they even had enough humor to use it as one of the time points they go to in Endgame. Let's use the quote unquote worst film as a time point,
and a major one,
and
it
was funny as well, wasn't it? Like, and it's just that whole spirit they have of like, we have what we have, so let's not ditch it.
Yeah. But you look at Doctor Strange. I mean, first Doctor Strange I wasn't really a fan of, but we still got so that didn't work. So we'll just nix Doctor Strange. That was still keeping as a foreign character. Yeah, and it's just
like you can't ignore what you've done just because it's bad. I just or not bad, even bad. Just not as good. But I think Warners are kind of like that, aren't they? With DC, that didn't work, so let's not ever do that again. And they would like use what didn't work and make it work. Right. Yeah, that's what sort of disappoints me a lot about but they just sort of give up too easily, don't they?
Because they want what it's like. If you'd said in the when Batman and Superman were dominating, Marvel would have loved that.
Yeah,
they would have. I mean, then you had the whole period with comic books were worth nothing, and look at how many times the rights were being sold off.
Yeah.
Cinematic rights, and I tell you what, like you said before. I mean, even with the TV shows. I think Marvel's only had really one flop, and that was Inhumans, and that's not even that bad.
Yeah, or the Iron Fist as well.
I loved Iron Fist.
Did you like Iron Fist? I didn't really like
Sacha Dwayne is such a diver. I think
I thought Daredevil was fantastic.
Punisher.
As their entry point. Yeah, and then the Punisher sort of came out of that, didn't he?
Season 3 was a bit of a hard watch of Daredevil for me, but
Yes.
season two of the Punisher.
Oh, Frank, yeah.
I was swearing and cursing the screen when I was watching it because I was so into. And the Punisher season 2, the character, the motivations, their arcs, it blew me away. And I do like Iron Fist, and I hope that eventually Marvel integrates them and the characters and the actors as well.
Yeah, because I mean, that's probably the only thing where DC has not surpassed, like sort of succeeded where they've not. Where Marvel hasn't is on the TV. Like they have the Arrowverse, which is like into 4th or 5th show now, isn't it? And you've got a couple more coming out. Whereas I think like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still really popular.
Yeah, we're still waiting for season 7 to hit the UK, even though it just finished in America. It's a good show. I love it. I love it bringing Ghost Rider into
all
it.
the Netflix ones, they were all cancelled, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Disney Plus, I think.
Yeah, I think they might. Yeah, but I mean. Yeah, it depends. I mean, same with the comics. Like briefly touching on the comics, DC are better than Marvel at the moment in the comics. Like the Marvel comics are a bit sort of lackluster at the moment for their content, whereas DC is really into its like rebirth phase at the moment, and they're doing really well. So I don't know. It's the format, I suppose, isn't it?
I really want. I've said this before. When we can actually get to places that actually have good comic book shops.
Yeah.
And we were somewhere today, and we were somewhere. We went out today, and we went to a comic book shop which was so small, and we were not that impressed with it. I'm not going to name names beyond that. But when we can get to a Forbidden Planet that's not in an area, I really want to go in there and actually start picking up the comics that I haven't done in years. But the DC, whereas you got the X-Men, which we wanted to reach after a few years, maybe you wanted to read comics again.
Yeah.
It was 20 years ago. Watching the Crisis on Infinite Earth, big crossover, that to me it blew me away. It's really want to actually read DC again. And find out what Superman is doing these days.
Yeah.
So, and I know I love the Marvel I do, and I love the X-Men, but ultimately, you want to be able to come out and of watching a film and go out and buy a comic book based on the characters you've just watched.
Yeah.
And that's what DC needs. Is they need something to get the general audience to go back into it. I mean, I miss the 90s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Where comics were a lot cheaper than what they are.
Well, I mean, like you say, though, they weren't popular, were they? Like they were sort of excuse me. They were like a, what do you call it? Like an untouchable thing, weren't they? Like after Batman and Robin, it was pretty much kryptonite to touch anything comic related, wasn't it? But
comic books were always, for the adults, more of an underground thing. He's like what's her name? Doty's character sister in more. I don't care if two comic book companies are selling the same things with different covers to see. I just like to think, I know what they're talking about. People go, what are they on about? The big Marvel and DC crossovers they did in the mid-90s because nobody was reading comic books.
Yeah.
So they crossed over characters with Punisher versus Batman and Superman versus Captain America. Right?
Yeah.
Batman versus just about everybody.
Yeah, because he's Batman.
He's Batman, so he can do Predator. He can do was it Aliens? I don't know if you did. I know he did Predator. He did
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd did a few Judge Dredds, and it's just it's. I miss those days.
Someone even did a fan film online of Darth Vader versus Batman, and it was really well done. Like it was really, really well done. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, like it's just, I mean, superheroes are the like the thing now, aren't they? Like, you know, a lot of people say about like, oh, it's, you know, the genre fatigue thing. Well, I mean, like, this has been the big film format for like the last 12 years now, hasn't it, since Iron Man. So I think it's inescapable that you're going to come across it.
But the thing is, it's all about Marvel knows this. It's about going with the times. Just because the characters are superheroes, you look at Endgame is a fucking heist movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's a time heist.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, the heist thing is popular now as well, isn't it? I mean, Rogue One was a heist movie as well, wasn't it? And it was the best one so far, like of the new lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, like you take the sort of the basic, what do you call it, like plot of those things, and then you paste it into the superhero thing. You don't make the superhero thing the main plot, do you?
No.
I mean, so is Ant-Man, isn't it? That's a heist movie.
Oh, Ant-Man is just brilliant. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And Guardians is just a space opera, and you know, like it's just you sort of superimpose the superhero thing onto the back of it, you know, so to speak, and you let it take its course from there. That's what Marvel do so well. I think DC sort of put too much emphasis on the fact that it is a superhero film, and then they put the plot on afterwards, especially with Batman vs Superman. That definitely feels like two films.
Martha!
Yeah, where did that even come from?
I like Ben Affleck in...
I love Ben Affleck. I think he's a great Batman.
A line in James Silent Bob where he discusses that line.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name? What's the name again? It's brilliant. If you haven't seen James Silent Bob Strikes Back, watch James Silent Bob Strikes Back.
Yeah. Just see Mark Hamill play a character called Cockknocker.
Oh, the reboot as well.
And the reboot,
James Silent Bob reboot.
It's on Now TV, right? Yeah. Just in case.
But, you know, I don't know, because I just recently finished watching Justice League. And, you know, I do like Ben Affleck, but I think the Superman stuff, I'm looking forward to the Zack Snyder cut. But the fun was Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Yeah, I like Ezra Miller as the Flash, yeah. And the guy who played Cyborg was pretty good as well. I mean, no one was particularly awful in it.
But I just, to me, it was like, anytime Ezra was on screen, I was like, this is fun.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
That's why I'm looking forward to Flashpoint. Let me just quickly...
I quite like Jason Momoa as well.
I don't like Amber Heard, but I'm not going to go into that right now because, but yeah, I'm looking forward to, but yeah, Jason Momoa does have some good points. You dress up like a bat.
Yeah.
So what's your superpower? Rich. That's something like Iron Man would say. It's like,
yeah, it does. Yeah, I always think Iron Man's like a dick version of Bruce Wayne, isn't he?
Like, but then again, I look at in Iron Man, he in Avengers Assemble or Avengers States, Captain America just addresses the whole, you've never had to make that play, you've never had to do the whole sacrifice thing. And it's ultimately Tony Stark that makes the ultimate sacrifice out of the Avengers.
Yeah.
So he has an arc, a 12-year arc that pays off at the end. That was quote the end game.
And with that, like signing off with the line he signed on with. Yeah. You know, like
I'm inevitable. I am. You don't think he died before it was a lethal weapon fake out. Yeah. The ending where it's like, he's this is the same thing Riggs does in Lethal 2. He's dying.
Yeah. But then he was originally meant to die there. Yeah. So I must admit I thought he was gonna like cop or like scare someone or something like that, and
it wasn't until the funeral scene I was like,
wow,
fuck, they killed him off. Then it's sort of like
I thought Captain America was gonna go.
So did I.
And he kind of does, doesn't he, as well? But I mean, I thought he was the one that was gonna make the big play. Yeah. And
I was so certain going into it that Captain America was the one that was gonna get killed.
Yeah, definitely. I thought there was gonna be like a surprise death as well. Other than but it turned out to be Widow, didn't it? Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it was the uncertainty as well that was attracting everyone, wasn't it? I stayed off the internet that whole day. I went to see that film.
Yeah. People really, as soon as all the I'm swearing a lot. Sorry. All the keyboard warriors, as soon as they've seen it, Widow, blah 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 blah, Iron Man, Captain America. Why do people want to?
Yeah, I don't get that. It's like that scene in The Simpsons, isn't it? When Homer walks past the
Yeah.
crowd and he's like, "Wow, so Darth Vader's is dead."
Yeah.
You know? Oh, come on, man.
But you get people that you see that know you like movies. Go, do you want to know the ending of this film?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, I don't.
Do you want to know the ending to all the? How many films you've seen that I've seen? Do you want me to tell you the ending of?
Yeah.
I'll happily do that. Just remember,
Yeah.
you ruined it. I actually said to someone once after they ruined it after the ending of a film. I said, I can happily tell you. I'll happily private message you all the ending of every film I go and see. You want me to do that? Then just watch what you write.
Yeah.
It's like a badge of honor. I've seen the new such and such movie. Do I know how it ends?
Yeah. No, you arsehole.
No. It's like especially with Star Wars. Some people come up to me and go, "Oh, do you want to hear the rumors how Star Wars is going?" No, I want to sit in the cinema and enjoy the film.
Yeah.
It's like getting your Christmas presents out. I don't want to know what. It'd be nice to know what I've got for Christmas, but until I actually get my hands on it, I don't really want to see it.
No, I don't care.
No, but it's nowadays, especially when I suppose geek culture. It's not as bad big as it used to be. I think it's slowing down, but the geeks can now make conversation with more quote unquote normal people.
Yeah.
That it's sort of like they can see themselves as a little bit of a king in the little world, so to speak, to some people. So it's sort of like, whereas before Batman, Superman, and all the Marvel characters were all underground, now all these people that in their own little minds, they're now kings of their own little kingdom because they know more about. A lot of times people you have to explain that these people that know comics or think they know comics and stuff, and so well, you have to ask yourself, would it work in a cinematic universe? No, but Iron Man has to do this, or Captain America, or Superman has to do this because that's why it's written in the comics. But it's not a different medium. You have to. But in the expanded universe, Superman can do this, but
most people don't know that.
Yeah.
It's always a but, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
no.
in this and that, like, well,
you need to know what's happened in the last film. And reality is, with the exception of, I suppose, Endgame is the only film which you really have to know at least what happened.
Yeah.
You can get into it just watching Infinity War. They're all superheroes. Everyone knows each other. Watch Infinity War. You can't go into Endgame without watching Infinity War.
No.
Films are always made for an audience that may just be walking in for the first time, except for Endgame, which is part 2 of a film.
But I've always said the MCU you can sort of watch in any order, apart from the Avengers films, maybe. Yeah. You can watch them in any order, and you're like, oh, he was from that, or oh, she was in that, and who's that? It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to watch it in order. It's probably we just would because that's the right order, but.
Do I really need to have watched Captain America or Ant-Man to enjoy Avengers, Endgame, and Infinity War? No,
not at all.
Do I need to know about Black Panther? No, because they explain little bits as you go along for these fans. You should, like I said, the geek culture thinks no, because you've got to know this because this the little things in that you can pick on.
Yeah.
So I picked on the thing we mentioned, the Big Lebowski reference, and I'm like, but that's because I like the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Can I abide? Yeah, sometimes there's a man. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I don't actually. I know for strength-wise and for box office, it's definitely Marvel have got the lead.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But
I probably would choose the MCU.
Definitely, it's I've seen all the MCU films, and at one point I did watch all the DC films when it was only like one a year coming out, but I can safely say I'm out of touch with them now. But hopefully with Flashpoint or whatever they call the movie, they'll rectify it.
Yeah.
I think the TV. I mean, I like the Marvel TV, so that's I love Shield. I can't wait to see season 7. But that I'm going to play it again. Crisis on Infinite Earth special merely made me want to watch DC and get into my DC again. That's why it pisses me off when people I've been referred to a few times as a Marvel fanboy.
Yeah.
I think you just people that say that don't know me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I like comic books. And like, someone once said, nobody wants to see the other side fail. A healthy competition is good for both sides. Is if DC are throwing out great stuff, Marvel have to up the game. If Marvel are doing it, DC have to up the game. It's all about
competition. Well, healthy competition.
Yeah, make what's better for the audience and make. Yeah. And if suddenly you get a Batman and Robin again, that could kill them. Actually, kill both of them because comic book movies are comic book movies.
Yeah.
But
hopefully that's a long way off.
I think we managed to dodge that bullet with Dark World, which is a Marvel thing.
But Dark World was nowhere near as bad as Batman and Robin. It was just the worst Marvel. It's just the worst MCU film. It's not even the worst Marvel film. It's just out of the quality of the MCU, it was the weakest.
Which is the worst Marvel film? Would you say Marvel?
Electra, hands down, absolute trash.
I didn't like it. I'll give you that, but I also, and this is going to go just on the basis of one line, Apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
I just really didn't like that line.
It's always the worst.
Yeah.
Or whatever they say.
Electra may have been bad, but it didn't take me out of the movie. No, Apocalypse took me out of the movie.
It felt like it was just a cash grab from Daredevil, wasn't it? See, Daredevil I'm not even that keen on, but the extended cut is pretty good.
I like it. But I did not like that remark because I thought it was unnecessary. And why you never tear into your own franchise?
Yeah.
Which they were doing. They were tearing into Last Stand, and I thought it was bang out of order by the writers, the producers, and Bryan Singer to actually slate another person's body of work, piece of work, which I think generated more money than the film.
Yeah.
And
which the director that was directing Apocalypse started.
Yeah.
And he must, and like we've said, like he signed up on that line, so he obviously endorsed it.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but if we're going to talk, what did more money? Superman Returns or X-Men Last Stand?
X-Men, easy.
Yeah. So, what are you bitter because of that? Was Bryan? I like Bryan Singer as he did some great stuff for the comic book industry, but that one line made me get, Bohemian Rhapsody is a fantastic film. I love it. The last 20 minutes alone, but that one line in that one film tarnished it a bit.
Yeah.
Because and I love the X-Men.
Yeah. The X-Men's great. Yeah.
But that just one line just it did. I mean, they should have ended those movies on either Days of Future Past or Logan.
Yeah.
But with the MCU, you think about the MCU, you've got so many characters you can actually mine. Everybody's going to have a different favourite MCU film, but everybody likes them and they want to go back and watch the next one in the series.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's why was it Shang-Chi or the other one, the Five Rings and the Black Widow?
Yeah.
I think the Black Widow movie from the trailers looks mediocre at best.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
But I'm going to be there opening day because it's Marvel MCU.
But then the film may be good. It might just be the trailer, I mean, there is loads of films where you've seen the trailer and thought, nah, and then you see the film and think, wow. And the opposite way around, funny you mentioned Superman Returns because that had a fantastic trailer and then, those were the best bits to see.
If you want a real good dissection of Superman Returns and Man of Steel,
that's
it's genuinely I really enjoyed doing that one. I enjoyed doing all of them, but that was just a real
treat.
It was. So
I think we're all Spanish Universe out now, aren't we?
Definitely. I mean, I'm going to say I don't want. MCU is obviously ahead.
Yeah, I'd say that. I do.
But having said that, I do not want to see the DCEU make more mistakes.
No.
And I'm looking forward to the Snyder Cut.
I'd like to be surprised and see them maybe even do better than the MCU for a little bit, like you say, just to make things more interesting, because everyone's going to be the MCU underdog, aren't they?
Yeah.
And until there's another cinematic universe that comes along, and not even a superhero one, to do that sort of formula.
They tried it with like the Universal horror characters.
Yeah, see, I thought that would have been absolutely great. Yeah. I'd love to have seen like all those characters together and Kong versus Godzilla as well. That would have been a great universe to see. One I always wanted was a Lovecraft cinematic universe. I think that'd be great, like for horror. That'd be great.
But haven't they tried out like Conjuring universe and stuff like that? But not
Yeah,
on that
kind
scale?
of, but that was just like set in the same. Like it wasn't like there wasn't a whole slew of
No.
films set in the same unit. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think it'd be great to have like a horror one like that. That'd be cool.
So okay, finishing off, which Marvel film are you looking forward to, and which
Marvel film?
and which DC one are you looking forward to?
Marvel, I think I'm looking forward to Blade.
Yeah,
Very
Mahershala
much
Ali,
looking forward to
absolutely
Blade.
fantastic.
And DC, I don't know. I think Wonder Woman 1984 looks pretty cool. Anything set in the 80s, I love because the soundtrack's gonna be good, isn't it? The Batman. I like Robert Pattinson as an actor. I've always had a lot of time for him in his profession.
I agree with Robert. I agree with you about the Batman because Matt Reeves as well. Director Robert Pattinson is going to be good. I'm just curious as to see what James Gunn's take is on the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something as well while I'm here. I remember before going to the Marvel is if you've not seen Harley Quinn, the animated thing, I think it's fantastic. The Suicide Squad, definitely because I want to see who Peter Capaldi's going to play as well because there's a lot of MCU actors in the Suicide Squad. But Marvel, I'm really curious as to whether they're going to either take the Spider-Verse or whether they're going to take the Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, and I think you were saying X-Men is your big one as well, isn't it?
I love X-Men, but I think they're gonna integrate that very slowly in
multiverse, I think, and Fantastic Four as well.
Fantastic Four because that's Stanley's first family. I think that could have been
I want to see them get that right. Yeah, I really do. I mean, like we said before, the first one's guilty pleasure, isn't it? Like it's not awful by any stretch of the imagination.
I like it. I like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
Oh, that yeah.
About
the one with Ewan Griffith and
Chris Evans is good in that.
He is, yeah. But I mean, the one with Michael B. Jordan, that was terrible.
Oh yeah,
awful.
It's Fantastic Four in name only.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think the ones we've not seen so far are the ones that are interesting me most.
Because we're going to it blind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So on that note, that's our discussion. I don't think we've not pitted one against the other in terms of we're nastily.
Try not to.
Yeah. So, and feel free to check out any of the movies we've actually. You might be surprised. You might differ, and if you do, comment in the comment section on however you're listening to us.
Definitely.
I'm Stevie W.
I'm Callum.